Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Friday, October the 18th. Well, this is a big night. One of our favorite people is joining us tonight, the wonderful Leslie Eastman, great friend of our show, as well as a contributor to Legal Insurrection. It's always such a treat to chat with Leslie and to hear what she has to say. And there she is. Let me say hello to Leslie. Leslie, welcome. It's so nice to have you.
Uh, it's really great being here, Silvio. I'm glad we can connect before the election. We'll look forward to talking to you after the election.
Yes,
And
yes.
I really welcome the opportunity to wish everybody in the audience a very happy Halloween season.
Well,
So,
that was going to be my first question, Leslie, because Halloween is a very special. Well, it's a holiday. It's a special holiday for everybody. I mean, now that I have little, at least a couple of grandsons who can figure it out and can get all dressed up, it's kind of fun for us too. But for you, it's really a passion. I just love the way you follow it and how excited you get. So, what's your big plan this year?
well, I have taken up archery. And so there is a spooky shoot archery tournament the Halloween weekend. So because I am known as the Shield Maiden of Science, I am dressing as a Viking Shield Maiden. And so I will be participating in that tournament and enjoying my costume and just the experience of shooting with some really fabulous people with my club. So
Oh, wow.
that's part one. And part two, as always, I join my very best friend who I help decorate her yard. And we have a selection of snacks and beverages and pass out candy to the kids. So this is going to be a really awesome Halloween for me. My son is taken care of. Mom sent him a Halloween package filled with a pumpkin spice coffee and pumpkin spice Pop Tarts. So, and his favorite candy treats. So, you know, it's just a really great way to end up on October. And hopefully, November will be a very good November as a result.
Yes. Hopefully, there will be a lot to be thankful for a
Yeah,
few weeks later. The
yeah,
other big holiday, of course,
yeah.
Thanksgiving. So that is absolutely great, Leslie. I'm so excited that you're getting excited about Halloween because I know how much it means to you and to your family. Well, you mentioned the election, and why don't we start with that? I mean, this has been, to say the least, a bizarre election year. I cannot recall. I mean, we've done some shows on previous elections. This is a rather strange one, to say the least. Um, so let me begin with this dinner that they had a couple of nights ago, the Catholic dinner that they had in New York City. This is a tradition. It's the Al Smith dinner. Goes back, I guess, to Al Smith, who was a mayor of New York City, he was the first Catholic to run for president. I believe it was in 1920 or 28 when he first ran for president. And, the candidates have gone to this every 4 years and, they crack jokes at each other. Uh, I think you would agree with me, Leslie, that it's kind of nice to have a little humor in politics. So it's fun. It's fun to see these guys crack jokes. Kamala Harris didn't go this year. And, well, what was your reaction to that when she said, I'm not going to go? Were you surprised or angry? What was your reaction, Leslie?
Now, that dinner is designed to be a charity event, and it's supposed to highlight the principle, the Christian principle of even though you're on opposing sides, you're still, polite and cordial, and you're all good friends at the end. And her lack of appearance signaled that she couldn't grasp the concept. Now, I get why that choice may have been made. She she is not an off the cuff speaker comedian. Things just don't flow for her naturally in terms of humor. I actually saw her give a spectacular address at the U.S. Air Force Academy. She was the speaker at my son's graduation. And it was an outstanding address. I will give her props. It was well delivered, it was well received. If she was doing that throughout this election season, we would be talking about a entirely different poll map, I think, at this point, but we're not, because whoever showed up at these debates and these interviews is not the same person. And so if you recognize you're not going to do well in that environment, you send a polite note saying, no, I can't do it. You send some money because it's a charity event, to acknowledging that you wish you could contribute your presence, but you're just not comfortable in venue. And then you don't show up and you take the consequences of that. You don't do what she did and then slap together a video that is pretty insulting to Catholics at a Catholic event. It's not that you're trying to have it both ways. You can't. You pick one option, you pick two options, you embrace
Right.
the consequences of either. Trump was there. He had a speech ready to go. Behind him were people who were trying to throw him in jail. You could not. He was having that wonderful time. He was not minding. And, that's the kind of strength, that's the kind of.
Yes, that's exactly right. I think we just lost you there for a second, but you're exactly right. That is the kind of thing you do.
Resonates.
Yeah. No, I think we just lost you for a second.
Yeah.
If you want to just repeat what you said, just.
Well, I was gonna, yeah, about Trump. Yeah, it was showed resolution. He showed he was common man touch.
Right.
That really goes a long way to connecting with the American people.
Right.
So he's shown in that event, and she missed an opportunity. And apparently, the Polly tracker or whatever political tracker everybody's been following nowadays showed a 2-point further distance in his success trajectory than it was the day before.
Right. I hear, and again, these are things that you pick up on Twitter. I've been following Twitter a lot since Elon Musk bought it. It's really become a great source. But anyway, I saw on Twitter that there were some reports coming from her campaign that there was like a difference of opinion. There were two camps within her campaign. There was one camp that said, no, you got to go. I mean, you just cannot avoid this thing. I mean, this is what a candidate does. You have to go. Trump's going to be there. Other people are going to be there. The majority leader, Schumer, is going to be there. So you got to go. So some people were saying that. And then there was another group within the campaign who were saying, no, you cannot go because the Monsignor is going to be there and he's anti-abortion and we don't want you taking pictures or sitting next to him. So apparently that group, prevailed and she didn't go. But I think she hurt herself a lot by not going because it would have been a great opportunity to crack some jokes on Trump and it would have been fun for both sides. And then Leslie, she makes this idiotic video with, I don't even know who the woman is who was playing the Catholic schoolgirl. I don't know anything about her. But you got this Catholic schoolgirl, who's giving her advice. And she said, don't lie because Jesus is going to be there or Jesus is going to do the fact checking or something idiotic like that. So I thought she compounded her problems, Leslie, by making this video. Like you say, she should have just said, I'm not going and have a great time. And back to campaigning.
There was two choices to be made. And she picked the third worst option. So, but, again, I like to stress that though signs are good for Trump at this point, because he's beginning to campaign in New Hampshire, so it looks like he's expanding his map beyond the traditional battleground states. In 2022, the polls apparently were looking good for Republicans. And of course, it was a disappointment. So I encourage everybody to vote, to get others who are like-minded to vote. Don't miss opportunities to support your candidates or do what you need to do for the best possible outcome. Because whatever happens, if you've done what you can do, then you can wake up feeling much better on November 6th if it wasn't quite the result you hoped for.
Well, we have early voting. Early voting begins in Texas on Monday. So we have a couple of weeks of early voting. I always vote early because I like to. So apparently a lot of people are going to vote here, and it looks like he's going to do very well in Texas. But I will tell you, let me ask you another topic about the election. you have a unique, I think, view or window to this problem because you're a wife, the mother of a wonderful young man, and of course, a commentator on legal insurrection. Why do you think Kamala Harris or the Democrats in general are having so much trouble with men? I mean, it is a lopsided gender gap. I mean, it's huge, like 20 points.
Mhm.
Why do you think that is? I mean, I've got some ideas, but I like to hear a woman's point of view, and not only a woman, but a mother and a husband. Why do you think the
Well,
Democrats are having this trouble, Leslie?
because the Democrats target males. It's everything DEI, everything that is male, toxic masculinity. They tear down males routinely, and the only males they seem to get excited about are trans and supporting trans, which is unhealthy, abnormal, unnatural, and very disturbing.
Right,
And what happens is men understand this. You can't fake it. It's a toxic environment where you're promoting this equity agenda. And what equity means is giving everybody who isn't a red blood American male a step up over them, no matter what the talents. And that's part of it. Part of it is the style of campaigning, lecturing and scolding um, is not something appealing to anybody. And if you take a look at the Fox News with Brett Baer, you could see Kamala just doing the scolding and this, just being a harridan. And he's got the look on his face where, he's tuned out, or as tuned out as he can be, being the
right,
professional interviewer that he is. So that's unappealing. And I think each individual man has its own set of reasons for not actually being inspired by her. She's just not inspiring. But what was interesting to me today is on MSNBC they had four Michiganders, I believe, two men, two women, and none of them, men or women, were voting for Kamala. And what it comes down to is you're seeing a preference candidate, because you cannot attack men without an impact on the women who support them. I have a
right,
son, I have a husband, I have a brother, I have father-in-law, I have
mhm,
men and I care about in my life. And
right,
if they can't succeed, and if they are being attacked and they are not supported, then I am not comfortable giving you my vote. And
mhm.
a lot of, we'll say, women capable of appreciating the wonders and wonderfulness of men will be considering their vote strongly in November.
Right. And you make such a wonderful point that all of this has an impact on the wife of a good man and of course the mother. I remember when Judge Kavanaugh was put through that horrible situation that he was put through back. In fact, one of the people who was after him was Kamala Harris herself back
Mm-hmm.
in 2018. But anyway, when they were after him, I remember they were interviewing some women on this topic, and some ladies were saying, that was horrifying. They could do that to my husband. They could do that to my son. They could do that to my brother, which is sort of what you're saying. And I
Mm-hmm.
think you're right. I think they tend to forget that all these men they're going after have families and they have brothers and they have husbands, fathers-in-law, whatever, and that these women are offended because men and women have differences, and that's fine, and that's okay. But I think most American women, rational American women, understand the role of men in our society as fathers and husbands, and they love men. They love the men who are in their lives, who have done so much for them. And the Democrat Party, I don't know if you remember, James Carville a couple of months ago actually was talking about this, and he's a big Democrat, and he was telling a conference of Democrats, you guys are too feminine. You come across, like you say, scolding, preachy females is what he called them, literally called them preachy females. You come across that way. And, guys like me out there, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to be demonized in that fashion. We're not perfect as men, but we do a lot as guys, and we want to be recognized for that. So I think that's a good point
And I
that you
think
bring
you can
up.
contrast this approach from Kamala Harris to Tulsi Gabbard,
Yes.
who's very appealing in her presentation. She's got a big male fan base who appreciates how she talks. So Sarah Palin had a fairly significant male male fan base
Well,
too.
Nikki Haley had a
Yeah,
big male fan
yeah,
base as
yeah.
well.
So
Yeah.
so there is a way to appeal to men that apparently Kamala and her team have just not managed to identify. And then on top of that, when you're talking about black men, they decided the bribery approach was the way to go. So pot and extra money for businesses, totally in violation of all sorts of constitutional principles, but you be that as it may. And that apparently that was not appealing to that particular sector of the population.
Right.
And then on Twitter, again, where we're seeing a lot more streaming of people's real free speech, you have a number of black women just appalled at the way that demoralizing, you need to vote, you have to vote, being told to who to vote for, and by elitists, by people in mansions, when they're struggling to make ends meet, is not having the winning effect that they think that it is.
Well,
So
and I think
it
no. Go ahead and finish. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no, it's
No.
just a very complex set of circumstances here that's just coming out.
Yes, you're right. And of course, I don't think they've helped themselves one bit by the VP candidate, Walls, because they thought they were going to make him into a masculine figure, to help with this issue. But I think he's the exact opposite. He doesn't, he doesn't come across as, I mean, as a very real person. I mean, those,
I knew that pick was in trouble when she said she was too tired to really look at the
yes,
brief before she picked the candidate. And
yes.
so she's already starting to, I call it the cat on the roof effect. You're gonna have excuses for your failure. You start laying them out early. So the cat's on the roof, the cat falls off the roof, the cat's on the at the vets, and then the cat's dead. So you're beginning to script your own failure saga ahead of time so you can blame everybody else for the choices that you yourself have made, which I think is happening.
Hmm. That's right. No, he's just turned out to be a horrible choice. And neither one of them. This is amazing to me. Neither one of them has done a press conference where they just open it up and say, "Okay, ask me whatever you want." On the other hand, J.D. Vance does one just about every day. Trump does them quite often, but they will not do a press conference, and I think it's because they're scared to death that she will not be able to answer questions in much the same way that she couldn't with Brett Baer of
Yeah.
Fox News. I will say one more political point, and I know that he's probably not going to win. In fact, probably not, and that is Steve Garvey in your home state of California. But I am such a fan of Steve Garvey. Of course, I knew him when he was a Dodger great, back in the 70s when he was the first baseman for the Dodgers. He was an MVP. It was just one of my real favorite players. So when I heard that he was running, I got all excited. But I know it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But man, what a great candidate he is,
I'm so sorry, my friends.
I know.
Not only is it not going to be Steve Harvey, it's going to be Adam Schiff.
Oh, I know.
I'm so sorry.
No, I understand. That's what makes it even more sick. The fact that he's a very good guy like Steve Garvey is gonna lose to this lowlife of
Yeah.
Adam Schiff. Well, you write a lot of legal insurrection, and I always enjoy your posts a great deal. There's two that I want to get into tonight. Tell me about this electric vehicle mandate in Europe. As I understand, they're going to have to cut back on the mandate, just like we're going to have to do that here. So just give me a quick update on that post and why you wrote it, Leslie.
Yeah. I follow green energy, or the promises of green energy, as they are slowly being exposed for the lies, obfuscations, and just over promising that they've all been. And electric vehicles are probably my top choice. You don't have the infrastructure. The lithium ion batteries are a significant fire hazard. Uh, you know, it's not helping anybody because batteries do not create energy, batteries store energy. And how are you going to get the energy? You're going to have a source of that, either coal fired plant, nuclear power plant. And because it's certainly not going to be the wind farms or solar panels, because that just is not a civilization worthy energy source. So, and then as an extra bonus for those of you who might experience Hurricane Helen or Hurricane Helene, excuse me, and Hurricane Milton, if you expose lithium ion batteries to a lot of water, they ignite and burn. So when I follow electric vehicles, I have found it very interesting that 50% of the people who buy one regret buying one and choose not to buy one in the future. And the Germans apparently are discovering the same thing. And not only are they discovering that, but the Europeans, being the progressive, moralistic, bureaucratic society, decided they were going to be 100% internal combustion engine free on any new car in 2030. Same as California. And now they're discovering, oh, the infrastructure isn't there. Range anxiety is an actual issue. Things, you don't spend 10 minutes filling up like a gas. Depending on your power level, you may have to sit there for an hour, 2 hours to get your car charged up. They don't share that information to you. And they promise you superchargers. Well, the supercharger's just not coming out of the numbers. And again, all of that requires electricity to be provided by some sort of civilization worthy source, including fossil fuels that are being demonized. So lots of failures. So now head of BMW is now joining the CEO of Toyota in saying that you can't put 100% mandate on electric vehicles. It's just not technologically feasible. So he wants the European Union to roll those regulations back, because what's happening in order to potentially meet this is they're going to need lots of batteries, and those batteries are coming from China. And of course, China don't care. China's got what coal plants it needs. China just wants to sell its product. So yeah, and then sure, in the background there, it's inspiring all these green eco activists to engage in all these mandates so they can sell their lithium ion batteries to us. And Ching makes lots of profits. So why should the Europeans be penalized for not having choice that's reasonable for the current energy footprint we have? So that's the first sign that their EV goals and aspirations need to be seriously revisited.
Right. No, it's a great story because it just shows you what happens when people don't think about these things. They sort of go with their emotions, and they don't think through the consequences of what electric cars really are. I mean, even Elon Musk, who's a genius, has clearly said that we're going to need fossil fuels for a long time.
Yeah. And then there's extra things with EVs is that at the charging stations in some portions of the country, like in California, are ripped off for their copper. And they're vulnerable. There are many issues with electric vehicles.
Wow.
People should have choice. A lot of people like the hybrid.
The hybrid.
Yeah. And that might have been a better option to encourage hybrids, which have apparently more, maybe a bit more robust, a little less dependent on just the battery. You can mix and match, and so we could have made different plans, but no, you have to feel good about saving the planet from a trace gas, which is life essential for plants. And actually, it turns out we have a carbon dioxide deficit. We were close to being a very troubling level of carbon dioxide until man started, burning coal and fuels. And now we're about 400 parts per million. Well, back when the
Wow.
dinosaurs roamed, we're at 6,000 parts per million. And back at the start of the glacial periods, we are at 2,000 parts per million. Carbon dioxide is life essential gas, people. Plants need it. We need plants to live. So a lot of manipulation and crisis drama, narrative, and pseudoscience offered. And the Germans, once again, are suffering the brunt of poor choices made by European policymakers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At least they're realizing it, so at least they're realizing the mistake, which is, I guess, the first step toward fixing a problem. Well, let's talk about another post that you wrote. I really love this one. And it's about Christopher Columbus. Of course, Columbus Day was last Monday. And by coincidence, tomorrow, the 19th of October, will be the anniversary of the wedding of Ferdinand and Isabella, who of course became the king and queen of Spain, who eventually who sent Columbus over here, and the story of all of that. I think Columbus has been unfairly targeted by people who want to make Columbus into something horrible and terrible. Here recently, the government of Mexico wanted Spain to apologize for the past, and the King of Spain pretty much told Mexico where to go with that idea. But tell me about your post, because I really loved it, and I'm so happy that you are talking positively about a fellow named Christopher Columbus, Leslie.
Well, yeah, actually, interestingly enough, this is an assignment given to me by my editors. I normally I'm highly avoidant of holiday posts because other people on my team have more of a gift, but it's history, so I took a historical approach. But one of the things I appreciated, because I had just finished the post on Elon Musk's successful booster landing, where they captured the big
Yes,
boosters
amazing.
they would need, which makes it more cost effective, more practical to do interplanetary space exploration. So, well, Elon Musk is all of a sudden launching a new age of space discovery. I said, well, look at Columbus. He launched a new age of exploration and discovery for us. And let's look at the positives. Because, like all human beings, flawed, we can't go back and judge the culture at the time. That's stupid. So, what do we have that is really, things that we can appreciate about Columbus from that perspective, the exploration? And one of the things that I think is totally underappreciated is the value of the nutritional food Columbus brought back with him from the New World. Potatoes, maize, uh, peppers, the quality foods that have become a part of the European diet and really enhance the vitamins and really enhance nutrition, saving millions of lives. So people want to accuse Columbus of being a murderer. Well, in the transportation going between Europe and the New World, we gained a whole lot. And I also would like to mention we also gained rum and chocolate, which are two of my favorite things. So
Right.
that's a lot of positive. Maps improve, okay, and
I would assume navigation got better because,
navigation
yeah,
improved. There were a lot
yeah.
of significant technological enhancements. That we connected with an important part of the world, and while one could dwell on some of the challenges of that, and I will in future posts bring those up. It certainly was not Columbus's intention to was not a demon. He's a normal man, and man seeks to explore. Man seeks to expand the known, basically his known universe. This is something inherent to our species. And I think a successful exploration should be celebrated. So this was a real week to celebrate not only Elon Musk, but Christopher Columbus. And one of the things I was really astonished to see is how my post got picked up on social media. Because, I think, quite honestly, Silvio, they've stopped shadow banning me. Because I've had pieces now, which I used to move footprint here, and they have gone super viral. And that piece was one of them because I think people are tired of not having their heroes. I think people are tired of having their heroes denigrated, and we're being told that we have to idolize this that person because of some sort of narrative. Where we had genuine heroes, and I think people are longing to return of genuine heroes, and Christopher Columbus certainly could be considered one of those.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, his contributions, and as I wrote a post about Columbus as well about a week or so ago, and of course mistakes were made. Mistakes are always made in
You're
history.
exploring unknown territories.
Exactly. I mean, it's not
As,
like
yeah, as Musk says, if you're not failing, you're not innovating. So
that's right. No, you're right. And of course, mistakes were made and abuses were made. But I have a line in my post. People who want to demonize Columbus. Well, Moctezuma didn't read you your Miranda rights when you were arrested. Okay, when you were arrested, I mean, you were treated pretty badly. If you were a man, you were made into a slave. If you were a woman, you were raped, and that's more or less the way it was. These were not peaceful people. I mean, they were fine. They had lots of advances and all that,
I
but
was going to say it was their culture, and but when you're talking about life affirming, human dignity, things that I think really, I would like our species to focus on. This is what they say. I'm good with Columbus. I'm grateful that he brought back what he did. I'm grateful he got my ancestors eating better foods so they survived and came over here on the Mayflower. So
right.
you know, life goes on, life moves forward, but you can't demonize every single person for a moral justice, social justice cause, right?
Right. And
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 people
just
are tired of it.
a quick word on Isabella and Ferdinand. That was a big moment too in history when this couple. I don't think it was their. When they got married, they were so young they probably didn't think about all of this, but their marriage eventually created really the new world. They started the exploration, and Spain became a super military
Yeah,
power because of
yeah,
that. So
yeah. When they got rid of the Moors and strengthened the
yes,
Spanish region through their union, they had the resources to send Columbus on his way.
right.
So, and he did. And
Right.
really, their reward was an inundation of gold and like I said, spices and foods, things they would not have known about unless they sent their explorers forward.
Right. No,
And
you're right. The
yeah,
bottom line is, I think, positive with all of
mhm.
that, and to somehow label it everything as negative. And I don't care if people want to celebrate Indigenous Day or if they want to celebrate the
you know,
global. That's fine, but
yeah,
don't do it at the expense of Columbus. Don't
yeah.
demonize Columbus so that we.
You don't need to diss Columbus to appreciate, the beauty, Incas or some of the qualities of the Aztecs or anything else. You don't need to denigrate that. You can certainly have your tribal day and celebrate that, but don't denigrate Italians and Spaniards because their people managed to accomplish things yours couldn't. I'm sorry. It's just you everybody gets to celebrate what is important to them without you demonizing their heroes. It
Right.
just
I agree. Yeah, don't make me feel bad because I like
I,
Columbus. I
it,
guess that's what I'm
it,
trying to say. You don't
yeah.
like Columbus, fine, have your own party, but don't demonize me for enjoying it. Well, Leslie, as always, time flies, but I want to thank you so much once again, and let's get together after the election. Let's
Yeah,
see
no, I'll reach out
what
to
it all
you.
looks like.
I'll reach out to you in that week. I will
Please
plan
do.
another session to cover what hopefully they'll have results to talk about. I just hope.
Well, I hope so too. I hope we have results. I mean, that
Yeah,
can be crazy as it
yes.
was the last time. And I know that I'm going to light a little candle for Steve Garvey. And then maybe there's a miracle out there. Stranger things have happened.
Yes.
Again, I'm not going to bet any money on it, but man, would I love
No.
to see him as governor of as senator of
Senator.
California. instead of this other fellow. I mean, that would make election night so much fun, because that would come late in the night, the news from California. So we would have so much fun to talk about, but probably not going to happen. I agree with you, but it would be so nice if it did.
Well,
But
never to stop dreaming, Silvio. Dare to dream, dare to dream.
well, I know we were talking about Columbus, and look, he was dreaming, so he made
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
why not dream? But thank you so much, Leslie, as
All
always,
right.
for joining us, and my best to your family. And
That's yours.
we will connect again very soon. I hope so.
Yes, definitely. Night, everybody. Happy Halloween.
All right. Thank you so much. Our good friend, Leslie Eastman, contributor to Legal Insurrection and great friend of our show. And we talked about a couple of her posts. The one about Columbus is absolutely fantastic. It's over at Legal Insurrection. You really need to read it, because she did a great job on that post. And then some of the other stuff she writes about energy and climate change and all that kind of stuff is also fabulous. But this one about Columbus really caught my attention. And as Leslie was saying, she got a lot of support for it, lots of following for it. And I'm glad, because she deserves it. I mean, it's a great article. Have a great weekend, everybody. I should have told Leslie this when we were on the air, but on Saturday night, there's a big Halloween party here that in the neighborhood. Actually, it's at the church where little kids can go for Halloween. So we're taking a couple of our grandsons who now know what Halloween is, and we're going to have a heck of a time Saturday night. And I'll put some pictures for my friends on Facebook. But one of my grandsons, Lincoln, is going to dress up as Mario. Remember the character Mario? From whatever that was, a computer game or whatever it was, but he's all dressed up. My wife bought him the outfit the other day, and he's so excited about it. He slept with it. So so I'm looking forward to my little Halloween there on Saturday night. It's a Halloween for the kids, but the adults enjoy it a great deal. Have a great weekend, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.